career. I love that move, right? It's a major homecoming there in the NBA. That's going to be great. And Kevin, in the NBA, it's going to be a great night. We're talking the clash of the Titans.
Sign me up. Best team in the West against the best team in the East. The Lakers facing the Sixers in Philly in 90 minutes on ESPN. The defending champs have been fantastic on the road this season as LeBron and company are undefeated in 10 games. And that's tied for the fourth longest road win streak to start a season in NBA history. So matched up the king versus the process. And the king is still the king. LeBron James has produced at least 15 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in all 18 games this season. That's the second longest streak to start a season behind his NBA record 22-game streak 9 years ago. As for that process, Joel Embid putting up MVP-type numbers, averaging nearly 28 points per game, which is a career high. The Sixers' big man has posted 3 straight games at 30 points and 10 rebounds, but missed Monday's loss to the Pistons. And the Sixers have protected their home court. Philly has won 4 straight, 9 of 10 overall in the 215-610 area code. That's good for the best home winning percentage in the NBA this season. New on SportsCenter, Doc Rivers in the last hour.
I don't, but listen, John, honestly, I look at every game as a game of growth. And the game of measuring where you're at right now. Not necessarily because you're playing the Lakers, more because we're playing an NBA game. And at this point where you're at, how far you're behind because of all the stuff that has happened. I think every single team, every coach I talk to says the same thing. We're kind of trying to figure out where we are at right now, not where we are at against someone else. And so that's what I'm doing more right now.
SportsCenter with Stephen A. Smith coming up top of the hour right here on ESPN. Great to have Stephen A. joining us now. And Stephen A., what kind of, I know it's January, it's late January, but what kind of statement game is this for the Sixers tonight with the defending champs in town?
Well, they need to make some kind of statement against teams above 500. They haven't been that impressive. The only teams that they've beaten legitimately are the Boston Celtics in 2 games back-to-back, and Jason Tatum wasn't playing. They even lost a game to the Brooklyn Nets when they didn't have Kevin Durant, James Harden, or Kyrie Irving. So you've got to take that into consideration as well. It's just that the way that they're playing, they've elevated their level of defensive play. Joel Embid has been a monster. Doc Rivers got him down in the post more. He's scoring more in the post, and as a result, they've been very, very formidable that way, particularly when you consider the fact that they've been surrounded by shooters. Tobias Harris is having a damn good season, playing like a max player. Seth Curry is a Curry. He's shooting over 55% from three-point range. He deserves a lot of credit. Ben Simmons has been struggling offensively, but we know what he can do on the defensive side of the ball. So when you look at their personnel and the way that they've been playing, there's a reason to be impressed. There's a reason to take them seriously. But when you go up against the reigning defending NBA champions led by LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and you've struggled to beat anybody of consequence thus far this season, especially without Embid. You're losing to the Detroit Pistons the other day, for crying out loud. But if you win tonight's game, that definitely sends a message to the rest of the Eastern Conference that the Philadelphia 76ers indeed are coming, and everybody better look out for them.
Looking forward to it. Plenty more from Stephen A. between now and tip-off between the Lakers and the Sixers, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. Stephen A., appreciate it.
All right, on to the NFL. Kevin, will he be a Houston Texan next season or not? That is still the question for Deshaun Watson. The star quarterback dismayed with management and wants out. And our sources tell Chris Mortensen that even while the Texans continue to search for a head coach, he still may want to leave. Their last head coach, Romeo Crennel, joined KJZ today to talk about the star QB.
Deshaun is a competitive guy, and I think he wants to be competitive. And I don't know exactly what was told to him or what his expectations were. But, in this game, a lot of times players are disgruntled, and after they've had an opportunity to sit down with coaching, management, or whoever, and get things ironed out, and then they turn out to be pretty good players.
NFL insider Dan Graziano joins us now with more. Dan, Watson's future isn't the only uncertainty in Houston. Where does the Texans search stand for a head coach?
The first team to fire their head coach, last team to hire one. They're taking their time. From best I can tell, it seems to be down to 2 candidates. Bills defensive coordinator Leslie Frazier, the former Vikings head coach, and David Culley, who's the assistant head coach and wide receivers coach for the Baltimore Ravens. These are both one-time Andy Reid assistants, as a good chunk of the league is these days when you talk about coaches. Frazier interviewed on Tuesday. Culley interviewed today, and the Texans are going to take some time, I think, to make this decision. Could be tonight, could be in the next couple of days sometimes, but we are getting close to the end of this process from what I can tell.
Okay, interesting that you didn't include there Eric Bieniemy. That was one of the people, one of the coaches that it seemed like Deshaun Watson might have been looking for them to talk to. They did, but we'll see where this goes. Dan, thank you so much.
Back to our breaking news from the WNBA. Former WNBA MVP Candace Parker is committed to play for the Chicago Sky after 13 seasons with the LA Sparks, sources telling Ramona Shelburne. Parker, who was drafted #1 overall in 2008, is now an unrestricted free agent. She led the Sparks to the WNBA title in 2016. It's the chance to return to her hometown of Chicago and play in front of friends and family for the last portion of her career. Too appealing to pass up. It's been quite a run in LA for the two-time WNBA MVP. The former Tennessee legend was the league's finals. She won the WNBA Finals in 2016, and the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, became the first and still only player in WNBA history to win MVP and Rookie of the Year honors in the same season back in 2008. Ramona Shelburne, who broke that story, joining us now here on SportsCenter. So how did this decision come to pass, Ramona?
Well, look, I think the Chicago Sky just put the full court press on Candace Parker. I mean, every player on the team was trying to recruit her to come on home. And that's Courtney. So many good young players, that Diamond DeShields, Courtney Vandersloot. They have a great young core that she can be the sort of veteran presence of and teach them how to last year. And I think they see her as the missing piece, as the player that gets them over the hump there in the Eastern Conference. And I think for Candace, she's 34 years old. She'll be 35 before the start of next season. She's had a great run in LA, and of course, they've had so many great franchise icons with the Sparks. Whether you go back to Lisa Leslie, people thought she would retire a Spark, right? But they've had a couple of disappointing playouts in the playoffs the last couple of years. Chelsea Gray is another free agent that they have to try to retain. If they don't retain her, what are you staying in Los Angeles for? And so for Candace, this is an opportunity to go home, play in front of her family, where she started at Naperville High School. She was, just in that Pat Summitt documentary a little while ago, seeing her back there. And it's an opportunity to finish her career in front of her friends and family.
Good for her. Remarkable journey, getting the chance to do that in front of friends and family. Ramona Shelburne breaking the news that Candace Parker plans to join the Chicago Sky and play in front of her hometown. Thank you.
Still to come on SportsCenter, PTI's bonus topic goes around the NFL QB carousel. Tony and Mike discuss if Deshaun Watson